I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail heroic. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to kick your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Dare to make war, we surrender. All good, important things are new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a seaport planet. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. Japanese. You're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before, or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird O' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello, world. It's Bird O' Prey 5. Kapla. Sorry about that. Welcome to Spoiler Saturday. I guess kind of, I don't know if we'll be doing this every Saturday or if today was just a sad day. I had to open the window and finally yell out, I can't take it anymore. The people who think Star Trek is better than the Orville are crazy. I'm sorry, but they're all fucking nuts. Nutsing fucks. Whatever the they're out there. They're loopy, and I needed to talk some sense back into the world. And welcome. Thank you for coming to the panel, Mr. Londell. Kapla.
Kapla.
And also welcome to the panel. How do I do this? Welcome to the panel, the Orville, who is going to play 1 screenshot a minute during this live stream, just so that we can all bask in the glory that was the beginning of the Orville season 3.
New Horizons.
New Horizons, yes. New Horizons. And then, of course, I was also trying, I completely forgot what the time I had before we started. I was trying to get my camera set up because it's an actually sad day. I decided to get dressed and figured I would go on camera. But of course, I forgot to actually set the camera. So give me a quick second.
Take your time.
While I edit the camera. Let's see, settings, camera, not virtual camera, XSplit VCam. There we go. Okay. And now restart camera. There we go.
Perfect.
That's something. Almost perfect. Let's see. We put the Orville in the background. Now we're Kind of perfect. Orville background or
Hello, Dr. Alex.
defiant background. Defiant. I think we'll go with defiant. I'm more comfortable here. Okay, so hello world. Not Ryan Johnson was first here. Says hello in Kapla. Hail Karoga. Hakeem was in the house. Kapla Hakeem says Kapla Bird. Captain Fandom Nerd says hello. John Araki is in the house. LDG. Star Trek Nitpickers. Mr. Lundell. And yes, Dr. Alex says Kapla Bird of Prey. Spoilers. I think Salty Trekker was way off on his judgment of this one. This was perfect Orville, more or less, and was set on only after the end of season 2. Yes, I do think Salty may have been wrong in his judgment, but you know what? It's the great thing.
Right.
It's the great thing that we can all have nerd fights again, right?
But
and it's great that we can all have nerd fights again, and I'm in the right again.
Yes. Look,
Again.
I mean, when the hell has Salty ever been right anyway? Come on.
I was going to say,
GG.
His head
Hey,
canon
guys.
alone. I mean, Christ.
Okay. Let's not.
what was his
someone who's not here to defend themselves? But
He's lurking.
what was his opinion though? Was he saying that this was left wing?
his opinion was that this was one of the weaker Orville and one of the stronger Treks, new Treks. He thought that Strange New Worlds was significantly better than Orville was this week.
Oh boy, he's been
Oh,
hitting
my
the
God.
Kool-Aid
Meanwhile,
hard.
while I'm watching Strange New Worlds, I'm like, how can he possibly be okay with Dr. Mbenga and Nurse Chapel banging out a katra machine on their spare time, right? not even an emergency. They got a katra machine together in about 15 minutes.
Oh, what?
A katra transfer device that Dr.
Yeah.
Mbenga had learned about by just reading books on Vulcans.
Vulcans
Meanwhile,
do that
it took-
one Vulcan to another. They don't put it
a
in a
psychic
machine.
battery.
No,
Something
they just apparently Dr. Mbenga found it in the library how to make this device that T'Pau talked about being ludicrous to Sarek. She's like, you understand this is crazy talk. This was done eons ago and then only in lore. And Sarek was like, forgive me, but when it comes to matters of my son, my logic, and she's okay, we'll try it. We'll try it. Meanwhile, Dr. Mbenga had notes for a physical device that they could put together to transfer katras. Now, granted, it wasn't the exact same thing because in Star Trek 3, they had to put a katra into a body that had no katra, and they had 2 katras in one. Whereas in this episode, they had to reverse katras. Spock and his girlfriend switched katras. So Spock was in T'Pring's body, and T'Pring was in Spock's body. Not exactly the same thing, but goddamn it, I would say close enough. Close enough that if you had the tech to do one, you could do the other.
See, I'm glad I'm not watching Strange New Worlds. That is so. I mean, it is.
Somebody put it in my chat and my comments this morning. Strange new canon violations or something like that.
That's exactly what it is. Oh God!
But
He likes it. He likes that crap.
not only like it, he seems to love it. I don't know. And then I said, okay, well, fine. Once Orville starts, he'll at least see the light of what was. Because, I mean, he was big into Orville, when the first 2 seasons. But then I started noticing in the last few months, he started talking about how Orville wasn't really as good as he remembered it to be. And I was like, oh, no. And I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, but he seems to be poisoned off the Orville. And I feel bad for him because we have Orville, which is so awesome. Is dangling right here. But he's going for Trek, and they're still doing everything they did in Discovery to push us off from liking Trek.
He thinks,
if anybody, okay, we're not bashing. I'm sorry. I don't want to bash. I'm not bashing anyone. I just
he disagreement. To be bashed.
Well, he might deserve it, but I'm not going to do it. And I tried. I thought I would have a chance. I thought he would open the panel on Thursday night, but he didn't. Even though I was there, it was fine. And I went last night too, even though I knew he wasn't going to do it last night. But just in case he started off with an open panel, I made it my point to be awake last night too. And I was like, okay, fine. If he's not going to give anybody a chance to talk about it, to bring it up, then I'll have to do it today.
So now he's pulling SJW tactics.
I'm just the option.
You got
I tried Thursday. I tried Friday. No, SJW would be not allow anybody else up to have a different point.
That's what he's doing.
Anyone is allowed to come up today with any point. If you love Strange New Worlds, Yosef, if you're out there, if you love Strange New Worlds, you want to come up. Hey, you don't have to. You don't owe it to any of us to defend yourselves. You don't need to defend yourselves. It is totally up to you. Mm-hmm. But if you're out there and you want to try to explain to me what it is you love about Strange New Worlds, or what it is I like about the Orville, so I can, maybe change minds, I'm open to that. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. And Darren, I see you're down there in chat. If you want to come up, you're welcome to it. Again, I think, Darren, there's no, excuse me. There was no invite. I just put a link. I just put the link in the chat. You should join the panel, and I will pin the message. I apologize for anybody who thinks they didn't get a link. I didn't send links out. I just put the message in the chat, and now I just pinned it to the top of the chat. I'm sorry, I didn't have time to send out individual links to people.
He upset you that much, huh?
Welcome, Darren Wagner.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I thought this was a really great season opener. It reminds me of how in the 70s and 80s, even though you'd have sometimes comedy shows, right? But you'd always know that they'd like do one dramatic episode per season, like next week on a very special Happy Days, or something like that, and that's what it kind of reminded me of. Like this is kind of like television of old, where you had they decided to put the dick and fart jokes away for a little while. It starts off very somber with a dedication to Norm Macdonald, and then we get into some pretty meaty stuff. I mean, they kind of can't continue to have Isaac on the ship without some kind of repercussion, right?
And last season, I thought it was kind of surprised that there wasn't more repercussion on Isaac. This season, it does seem a bit late to start bringing up now, but being it was so well done, and being the facts was that we were in a 2-year hiatus due to a pandemic or whatever we believe, but we, these were unprecedented times for both Hollywood and in sci-fi in general with Trek and whatnot. I'm okay with the fact that they want to go back a little bit and change the direction they did season 2, because they would never have a chance like this again. So I'm okay with the fact that, this isn't what they planned, but it's what we've got.
Okay.
Yeah, as I recall, I mean, I should have watched the tail end of the second season again before watching this one, but I didn't. They didn't actually show us the war going on, or the battle going on with the Kaylon to a degree. I mean, they just gave us the Yesterday's Enterprise sort of story, and then it ends with presumably the timeline being reset. And so a lot of the events that they mention in this episode about having to be having to be deactivated and stuff like that, I didn't remember.
Well, really, it was over by Identity Part 2, and then there was 5 or 6 more episodes before the end of the season.
Actually, that war is still going on. What you saw in Identity, that was just the first engagement. Okay,
gotcha.
See, because in the last season, a couple of times they had to hide from Kaylons.
Right.
After that battle, and then in this episode, they had to hide from a Kaylon ship. So that war is still going on.
Right.
I don't know if I'd call it a war. I mean, certainly you don't want to, the Kaylons are out to destroy Union ships, but the Kaylons retreated from Earth. The Kaylons retreated from Earth after it was clear they weren't going to win the battle when the Krill joined.
Gotcha.
So it's like you don't want to come across
there's no
a Kaylon
war,
ship.
But it's more like a universal kill on sight.
Yeah.
That sounds like a war to me.
Well,
it
does
does
be considered like that. I mean, there's
it's not that there's constant Kaylons headed to Earth every week, which is what there should be. If you're
now
a
they're
robot,
the Klingons now.
They can but you can just build another fleet and just send a fleet as fast as you can. I know it was unpopular, but I was the biggest opponent of Identity Part 2 last time it aired. Everybody thought I was crazy, but I said no, as I loved Identity Part 1, but I said Identity Part 2 was my weakest Orville episode to date at that point, and to date now as well, because we only got a few more episodes. But I was like, you have this whole big Kaylon fleet, and now it's all done in one episode. They're able to travel into Krill space and then back to Earth in the seemingly 15 minutes, when I thought it was pretty well established that it took them a month to get to Kaylon space from Earth. They have the P corner, but that doesn't. What about food? What about the weeks that it's going to take them to get back to Earth? You're going to need more than a P corner. And I don't know.
Wait a second. So I thought the episode with the social score was the weakest episode over
the
Identity.
Socials. That was season 1, and number 2, that was one of the best episodes of the season. It was one of the best episodes of Orville of all time.
Oh,
yeah, the social
majority rule.
One.
Yeah.
That was such a commentary on us. It was pretty brilliant. Yeah. I thought the porcupine chick that LaMarr was sleeping with looked familiar. I don't know what.
I thought so too.
Yeah, that's got to be a guest star uncredited or something that
I was looking. Not that I cared, but I wasn't sure if Dan was in the episode. But then I saw it was no speaking part. But and Turco. She might have got a promotion. I don't remember. Turco, But in terms of the woman that John was sleeping with, I think that was how there was still some humor. You know, they still have humor in this.
Yeah.
Not ha humor, but
lightheartedness. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's still something.
Now, I was a little bit, I'm shocked by Charlie's insubordination. However, that was one of the things that I had to remind myself. Okay, the Union fleet is not as inspired by the U.S. Navy as, say, Starfleet is.
Right.
So, this show has had a history of people mouthing off to Mercer, and treating it almost like a civilian job, rather than than a pseudo.
Mercer himself, history being late and whatnot. Drinking on the job. I don't know if that's something that happens.
Yeah,
in the military.
They kick you out for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, they need
Instead,
captains.
It's almost like like they're taking the word union literally, and how hard it is to hire somebody on a union.
You think that's what they're doing?
I'm just trying to make it funny there, but no, I mean, Dan one time called Mercer a dick in the Replimat. I remember that. It's just like, it's not Starfleet, obviously,
Yeah, but you got to remember, you got people that know nothing about the military, essentially writing military stories.
Yeah.
And they just cover it up. Well, they're explorers. No, they're the military.
Exactly.
Because when something comes up to blow up a planet, who do they call?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's the military.
Right, but it's a military that doesn't act like our military. Is what I'm trying to say. It
acts like no military.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like it acts more like, I don't know, a corporation. I suppose you could possibly say that. There's no HR department.
Than that.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I'm trying to make up excuses for it. It's
a good show.
But
so.
There was
Orville Nation.
Yeah.
Random Menace, actor, pop culture curator, 47 Yorktown. Sorry, a lot of people came in.
Oh, it's okay. There was a TNG episode that had a similar idea where Worf, there was a Romulan dying in sick bay, and there was a substance in Worf's cells that he needed to survive, and Worf was not going to let him have any of that. And then at the very end, Worf softened a bit and asked the Romulan if he wants him to save his life, and the Romulan's like, "I would rather die than pollute my body with Klingon filth," and that was the end of it. It was like, it was one of those situations where the CMO and the captain could not make Worf go through the procedure.
The difference was that Picard would not order Worf.
Right. I guess so.
No. He waited till the end. He waited to the end before he'd order it. He said, Worf said, "Captain, if you order me, I will do it."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't want to have to order you." He's like, "Well, then he will die."
Yeah.
and then at the end, Picard's like, "Worf, I order you to go to Dr. Crusher." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he goes to Dr. Crusher.
No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Worf, Picard called down to Beverly Crusher and says, no longer seek the
you're right.
Worf.
You're right.
And Beverly goes, "I don't have to anymore, Captain. The Romulan has died." And that was it.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
But and then of course Tomalak had such a rage boner at that point. Tomalak's such a great recurring villain. Wish we could have got more of him, but we didn't. And but I mean that kind of reminded me of that story, but it was significantly different. Obviously, it was similar, but in some general ideas. But Star Trek always told really great stories like that, and I don't think they do that anymore.
They don't know how.
Yeah, there's that too. But what was it? There was a Voyager episode too, as I recall, where and LD will probably have more information on this than me, where in order to resolve a medical problem, the doctor had to create a program based off of a Cardassian doctor that was somewhat notorious for being inhumane, and
I think it was Krell.
yeah, and it was a computer simulation. It wasn't the actual doctor, but the idea that they didn't want to profit off of his experiments that he did.
Yeah. And it was to save B'Elanna, and B'Elanna knew who that doctor was, and the things that he had done, the experiments. So
yeah, and I thought that they were being a little ridiculous, but in that episode, but there's a similar idea. The thing that Charlie says, where I tell you what, I'll if Isaac can bring what's her face back, then I'll bring him back. Which is the usual response, these kind of dramas. Only she told it in a different way.
I get the only reason she changes her mind is after Marcus asks her. I mean, you have a kid who's going to now hate himself the rest of his life for something he thinks he said. And, she has the option now of basically saving Marcus's life, because he's never going to be the same again.
Right.
So I thought that was, well done, in that is a reason she would change her mind. If she was willing to be fired for everything up to that point. Yeah. If you get a younger kid, I thought it was kind of ridiculous the way they got away, and that her friend, why would you put the emergency release on the outside? I was like, this is just, you're begging for a two-person rescue for one of them to give up their seat. Like they knew that was going to happen.
Question in chat by DVN. I don't think a U.S. military officer can order you to give a blood transfusion or something like it to an enemy combatant. I don't think so.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. There was more to that situation than just saving a life. The Romulans, Picard was trying to maintain detente with the Romulan Empire, and a Romulan dying at the hands of Starfleet crew would have been a perfect scenario for the Romulans to then begin an offensive. So there was some.
Luckily, they found a second one.
Which is why Picard should have ordered Worf to go undergo that process, and just tell him, I got to do this because I'm trying to keep a war from starting. Now, after you give him, you can cuss him out all you want, but do this.
Stress-free K says, why aren't the crew more grateful for Isaac saving humanity and understanding his systems were corrupted? That's another big thing. There's no way they survived without Isaac. I mean, he should be more hero than anything. I understand humans are not going to want to cheer him up and give him a medal for his bravery or anything. But the reality is, without Isaac, they're all dead. They're all dead anyway.
True.
They weren't. They were responding purely emotionally, and during wartime, I mean, a lot of just it makes it easier if you can dehumanize the enemy. You know, I mean, you look at some of the Superman comics that came out during World War II and how the Japanese were depicted. You know, for example, they're either teeth or fanged. You know.
I have a Batman movie on my channel, on my Odyssey channel. It is racist as all get out. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that was at that time deemed okay. Well, you know, we can look at it now and say, okay, that's obviously wrong, but back then nobody would have been bothered by that, other than perhaps Japanese Americans, and and they weren't in much of a position at the time to protest. But anyway, Japanese soldiers were either beaver men or vampires, basically, is what they were, how they were drawn, and honestly, Germans were also portrayed, you know, as kind of ghoulish as well. But not so much with the.
And I don't think it's even that bad. You know, during war, you're fighting a people.
Yeah.
Italians didn't come out of World War II unstained either, and nor should they.
Yeah. Oh, there were two. We'll just call them internment camps in Montana that were used to intern Italian Americans who were suspected of being Mussolini supporters. A lot of people don't know that. You know, it wasn't just Japanese Americans who were interned in World War II. The Italians are not as easy to differentiate, but a lot of them went there. So,
and they actually arrested and imprisoned Germans who were sent over here to cause havoc.
Yeah. Mike Richards, welcome. I'm sorry you were early in the chat, but I believe I missed you. Applaud Mike Richards and Josh Street. Hector, I already said hello to. Applaud Hector. Let's see what else we got.
Okay, but one thing I've been kind of musing watching this episode and watching it again. Isaac's response. Okay.
Yeah.
I realized
what he did was, to me, you're looking at it, that was totally an emotional response.
Yeah.
And it was
suicide.
Triggered. Yeah, it was triggered. If you think back to all of the Isaac episodes, it was triggered by someone he bonded with. And you remember the episode where they crashed on the planet? It was him and the two boys, and the mother was separated. He began to bond with those two kids in that episode. And it was like what the rest of the crew was doing to him, you know, it didn't really matter to him. You know, because he said he doesn't have, nothing that they were doing would cause him to complain. But he didn't off himself until after he talked to the kid. And the kid said, "I wish you were dead."
Yeah.
I think
Marcus, there's some emotions in there with I think, he has some level for emotions.
Right.
See it here, and even a Happy Refrain episode, with the rain and the way he talked to Claire about, that was a guy spilling his guts to the woman he wants to be with. Okay. Yeah. Emotional response, period.
Well, that's what they did with Data too. I mean, they constantly said Data didn't have emotions on TNG, and yet he often gave emotional responses to things. And the intention there was that the audience would notice, but the characters in the show wouldn't.
You guys are cute, man. I mean, if you saw emotion in Isaac, that's awesome. But I mean, he literally said why he did it. and it had nothing to do with emotion.
Oh.
I mean, he literally to the T. He said, "Why did you do it?" She asked, "Why did you do it?" And he gave the exact answer that caused him to do it. That at the moment, his death would increase productivity in the ship. And I believe Data also had an episode where he kind of came to that conclusion once. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's why he did it. He found out at that moment when he said, "I wish you dead," that him not being on the ship would increase product. Everybody's down. Everybody's not, it's him. He's the reason. He's got to go.
Yeah. I think that only hearing it from Marcus, Ty, or Dr. Finn herself would have been the only ones that would have made him come to that decision. Because, he doesn't have to be on the Orville. Although I guess now there's nowhere else he could safely be. He doesn't want to be.
You think he had the available data. He even told them that he's been ever since everybody's been ever since he was noticing everybody hate him. He even told the captain it's been an interesting experience, seeing this facet of humanity, and he's been collecting the data. He processed it and came to a conclusion and did what was necessary without flinching.
You don't want to make it seem that he did something honorable in any way, though. That's the problem.
There's nothing honorable in suicide. Okay, we're not samurai. So
the DS9 episode where the Vedic takes her life. When she says evil must be opposed and she jumps. That, to me, I always thought was like one of the most powerful episodes of Trek. And the problem is that really makes suicide seem sexy. It seems powerful. It seems like even though you are just one person, that if you truly believe something, that you have to back it up with your life. And I don't like that. And I don't know if it's true or not, because if it is true, then should there be more people willing to jump off a stairwell or something to end their life to show what they believe? Are we being cowards not doing that? Or as I believe now, it's just too easy that the Vedic was mistaken.
You got to remember also that the era in which that show was broadcast, you could have never had a character like Kira on a Star Trek show, even and goes along with a lot of what the Bajorans did. The Bajorans were, we know who they were supposed to represent. Various, religious groups that had been oppressed, and so you're right. It was a powerful moment in Star Trek, certainly, and especially in the way it was filmed. You don't see her, her neck getting lengthened or anything like that. You just see the knot tightening, her jumping off and the knot tightening, and
Hello, Resolute Germ. Sorry, we started a little early today. I know you do your Saturday morning stream. Well, I'll be honest, I forgot about it when I set up the time, but then I realized that.
But anywho, back to the heresy that brought us here.
Yes.
Place.
Oh, I'm sorry. A super chat from John Araki. Thank you so much, John Araki. That one I would have missed. I forgot to open the panel. Unfortunately, when I do StreamYards, there's no kissing Dax, but I can force one before we leave.
Oh.
So I'll force one.
I'll be honest. I always hate kissing Dax, but that's okay. You don't have to accommodate me at all.
It's okay. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz says Kapla Vertebrae. Is Orville season 3 worth getting Hulu?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I want to just say also the effects. Now, my one criticism of Orville, the one thing that I think it just lacks is I've never been crazy about the design of the ship at all. It's kind of grown on me a little bit, but I far prefer other franchises' aesthetics. But that opening scene where they showed you the war essentially, that was some great stuff. I mean, that was. And I hope we don't see it and get another engagement that large again on the show. But it reminded me of the way that they used to do that kind of stuff, those kind of huge battles and things. And it wasn't corkscrewing angles. It was basically an improved version of some of the stuff we saw in Deep Space Nine with the sacrifice of angels and the finale and all that. I was very much impressed with that. The fact that it turned out to be a dream sequence is fine with me because it obviously had to be inspired from something, So
Yeah, and I think it's fair assessment that it's mostly what he saw that day,
right?
Or he experienced.
Pardon me.
It's not completely fictional,
right?
Except for Isaac's mouth,
right? Becoming a demon fish mouth, whatever that was.
But if you remember back, we called it correctly, saying that was a dream.
We called that correctly, and I believe we also called correctly that it was going to be Marcus who wrote Murderer. As opposed to Charlie.
Did we even see Bortus and Clyden in this? I don't remember seeing Clyden.
We saw some Bortus, no Clyden.
Yeah, no Clyden.
Bortus had a couple of lines. Lieutenant Dan was seen but had no lines.
Broccoli.
No, but frankly, let the Bortus Clyden thing rest let it simmer for a little while. Because that's a relationship on the rocks, and it's just a matter of time before they break up.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
we know what happens when Mocklins break up. Somebody get killed. Bird, where'd you go?
You'll have you lose Bird. We lost Bird on his own stream.
We lost Bird.
Anywho. There he is.
Let's get back. Oh, I was going to say, let's get back to bashing Salty. Anyway.
Yeah.
He's back
on
now.
Sci-fi. Plot.
Number 1. Hello.
Double.
Yeah. Now.
What's going on, boss?
What exactly? Let's get back to this. What exactly did he say? It's time that everything he says gets countered. Okay, we got 5 guys here. We can counter everything he said.
I don't know, but I thought it was interesting that that little super fighter that they have now. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Delta Flyer or something, like a really special,
Pterodon.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Pterodon, yeah.
But they only got 1. They need 6. Come on.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe they're super special, they can only afford so many. But
Resolute says Dan did have a throwaway line. I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Oh well, I think Dan did say something. It was kind of creepy too.
I remember John asking, "Does anybody have a weapon?" And Dan was shrugged with everyone else, no. And then he had that weird tardigrade looking thing.
Oh yeah, that's the second appearance of that, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, he was first shown.
That was Bortus's porn dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was a member of the crew. I just thought he was a passenger or a visitor or something.
Oh no, he was a crew member.
He works in engineering. So.
Yeah, the idea that a tardigrade it literally gives the ship an STD, I thought was just brilliant.
So I know we were told by sources that there was going to be that they were going to poke fun at STD this season. So I was keeping an eye out for any obvious. To be honest, I really didn't see anything too obvious. I thought, well, maybe Charlie was going to be the opposite of Michael Burnham, like a complete failure. But no, she seems to be pretty good at her job. And of course, she even has something that only she can do.
Right.
Or, you know.
I was thinking along those same lines too. I thought, well, okay, she's got a guy's name, you know.
It could be, yeah.
You know, we'll see what happens there, but you know.
And she does have that special fourth dimensional skill.
Yeah. Yeah. Which just means she's really good at, you know.
She's a math girl.
Video games.
Math or physics. Yeah. First, I thought Gordon wasn't going after her, wasn't trying to pursue her. Now I'm thinking he might just be playing the long game.
Well, I think that he's probably learned his lesson from previous situations, right? I mean,
I don't know if he's somebody who learns the lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was something about that prickly woman.
Yeah, she was great.
You know, the interesting thing also, somebody asked me, it might have been LD, or we were talking about the submarine warfare line. The thing that they did was something that I know U-boats were known to have done, you know, fake an oil slick in order to make the, you know, the Allies think that they had destroyed them. So that's if that's what they meant, that's an interesting choice to have the Orville use a U-boat tactic, you know. But
you see that in the movie Run Silent, Run Deep.
That too, yeah.
It's an American sub that does it, and they even actually toss a body of one of the dead crewmen, you know, out. And so.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, Balance of Terror did too, you know. Include the Centurion's body in the debris, you know, to enhance the realism, you know.
JP says this was a bullshit episode and a bloody after school special.
What?
You know, I mean, the talking about self-deletion type, I do get the vibes of a after school special. I honestly half expected Seth MacFarlane to come up after the episode was over and like talk to us, you know, person to person. If you have a problem with suicide, call the suicide hotline.
Yeah, they could have turned it. Yeah, he could have done that after the episode.
And I'm not sure it would have been bad. I just, I could see it happen.
Well, I mean, you had Scott Bakula come on the camera during Enterprise and talk about tsunami relief.
Really?
You know, there was a.
I remember the tsunami. I don't.
Yeah, when Enterprise was airing, there was they had him in Jonathan Archer costume, talking about you know, how you can give to some organization for tsunami relief. So I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's the closest thing I can think of to where Star Trek has done that.
Yeah, a lot of shows have done stuff like that for whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't like, you know, breaking the fourth wall with Archer or anything. It was just
Yeah.
Bakula still in costume in the corridor of the NX-01.
I'm not sure I understand how smashing a circle or whatever that was in Isaac's head has somehow released him or whatever, and now they have a working copy. I assume this was a one-time only, last chance. I thought it was a bit weird with how they chose to revive him, especially since we do know he was in the computer system at one time. I really thought when Dr. Finn saw Ty with Isaac in the simulator that she was going to think about it and be like, hey, he could be put in the simulator. There's no reason why he couldn't be. And then they would go about getting a backup out of the system from that. But oh well. I'm not angry. It's just could have been. And this is the second time he tries to implore Charlie for help.
And then it looked like the Orville got some new armament as well.
Yeah.
That's right. They have torpedoes now.
I thought they did before for some reason.
No, it was just
pulse blasters, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless they never used them the first two seasons. So, well.
Resolute says this episode would have been better as a between-season special. Release a season premiere. Need to have a bigger hook to hype the audience for the coming season. Well, it would have been, but again, what was available and what is best are not always the same thing. Mike Richards went to school with Tsunami.
Tsunami.
Actor says engineer's choice, smash it. That is true. That is. You give an engineer a problem they can't solve. First option is, well, if you smash it with a hammer and you fix it. I don't think Charlie will be able to tell the future, regardless of future of 4D super skills. Stress-free K. JP says, will they hard less torpedoes? They had less torpedoes than Voyager was equipped with. That is true. And Actor says, I remember a little of how data was reconstructed from a single synthetic neuron. No.
Stop.
Well, no, at least they didn't pull that. Engineering came up with the theory that there's part of his programming left. They just have to find it and it'll reboot it.
Well, I'm looking forward.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm looking forward to Orville probably more than any Trek show at this point, for sure.
I mean, look, my advice to anybody: give up on this new Trek shit. I mean, because it's a waste of your money. Because we keep looking at this stuff as a fan. Okay, we're not fans
No,
It's
Star
behind the
Trek.
paywall that makes us consumers.
Right.
See, would you buy a car that's as much of a piece of shit as these shows are? No, you wouldn't. So why do you buy a show that's such a piece of shit? Same difference. Okay.
It's like buying an Alienware computer as opposed to 20 years ago, right, LD?
It's like
Yeah.
using
That's the
DOS
voice
in
of
the
experience.
Windows world. What the fuck are you doing?
LD shakes his head.
Be surprised how often I use the DOS. No, it's not called the DOS window anymore.
DOS prompt, command.
Yeah. Command prompt.
JP's, what are you talking about? Don't give up. Don't give up on what?
Yeah, I actually like the command prompt better, but that's why.
I mean, JP's, if you're a glutton for punishment, go right ahead,
JP's master masochist extraordinaire. Alexis Knapp is the name of the actress who played her name is Aurelia, the porcupine lady that was in bed with LaMarr.
It's Kaylon, I think.
Yeah, she's been in stuff, but nothing I've ever seen. So apparently, it just she was just being charming. I do like the more and more I see her, Penny, what's her name? Cassidy Yates, Dr. Cassidy Yates, that actress, Claire, is that her name? Claire?
Yeah, Claire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Claire Finn.
Yeah, Claire Finn, but I'm thinking of the actress's name.
Penny Johnson Gerald.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more I see her, the better. I mean, and then
it's
weird.
She was in 24 as well, if you remember that.
Well, I didn't watch 24. So. Yeah.
I did watch 24, but I don't remember her.
Yes,
she was
like
President Palmer's
season.
wife.
Uh-huh.
President Palmer's wife, yeah. So, or I guess first he was Senator Palmer, and then he became president. But yeah, she was his wife.
All I remember about 24 is, of course, Jack Bauer, and then that girl who was always doing the computers for him.
Chloe,
yeah.
Yes.
She was cute.
Okay. You need to put this stress-free K's response up. I mean,
I would take Strange New Worlds TOS-inspired soundtrack over the Orville Looney Tunes score any day of the week.
Well, there was a part when they were flying around. It sounded very reminiscent to me of Wrath of Khan when they got the ship underway. The score was very, very similar at that point. And they were just taking it, out for its, I guess, test run after all the modifications and stuff. So I didn't have a problem with the score in the Orville.
I really liked how menacing the Kaylon vessel looked. I mean, they basically picked a shape. I mean, because it's such a basic shape, it's essentially a donut. It's as menacing in its own way as the simple Borg cube design.
Yeah.
It's like, here comes that mechanical race with the really simple design ships that are really dangerous.
Well, if a mechanical society like that, it would be a basic shape.
Right. I agree.
Because they don't need atmosphere, and probably they don't need gravity and temperature control and all that. So you just make it basic.
Right.
Just a circle with a bunch of damn guns on it. Cool. It'll work.
Yeah. But for example, I mean, you remember those that offshoot of the Borg that made those wonky looking ships that were all kind of just haphazard.
Yeah.
later in TNG. I mean, they could have gone with something like that, but instead they went with the basic shape, and I like that a lot. Again, the problem that I always had with Orville was just I didn't like the way the propulsion system looks. With I call it a labia drive because it kind of reminds me of labia, which means I should probably like it a lot more than I do. But I'm just I think they took it a little bit too literal when they talk about how the Enterprise was it's a merger of male and female parts. You got cylindrical areas, and you got round areas and things like that, and it's like maybe they took that a little bit too literal for Orville. But I would have preferred a different shape to their propulsion drive, like maybe a paddle wheeler or something like that.
Yeah, those 3 loops. And it just looks odd that you would have to fly between them in a shuttle to get in and out.
Well, that and they're so graceful with their Artesian curves, and it's like, what is it about this curvature that you like? We don't see any variation either. All of their ships are basically the same configuration. Just sometimes some are larger. Even some of their original shuttles are, they've got the 2, labia, nacelles or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that on Bird Stream.
You keep saying labia.
It really doesn't matter.
It's a word that comes to my head. I'm sorry.
Well, it's better than the slang term,
Right.
Word and lips.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I guess I cleaned it up pretty well for Bird. But yeah.
But it's almost squid-like in appearance.
And I did appreciate that they kind of made it look like some kind of swimming entity, but at the same time, and then when you close up, I do actually like it better in close up than the straight on body, because when you get, especially now that they've added so many new textures to the hull, there's different panels now and sections and things. I also just love the spiral staircase in it. The idea that they have this big spiral staircase in there instead of just having a turbo lift, because most of that ship is like horizontal, right? It doesn't have as much vertical space, not like the Enterprise D, for example, where if you wanted to get from the bridge to engineering, you'd want a turbo lift. You wouldn't want to take a series of stairs and hallways and things like that. So it's one of those things that a smaller ship wouldn't need, is a turbo lift.
It's something probably. Well, I don't. I've often complained about the scale of Trek ships.
Right.
It makes no sense to have not that much room. It's a lot of wasted space.
Yeah.
If you look at,
Well,
even if it does mostly, if it's more exploration and science than it is, a combat vessel, it's still you got a lot of wasted space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have, and this is something that I'm surprised I don't see yet, and they touched upon it, is forget transporters, forget any kind of elevator, and all you need is quantum doors. So you just open up the door, and the door is already going like a portal to the next room you're trying to go to. There, done.
Yeah.
They
had something like that in Picard, where you had these transporters that you literally walked through, and they beamed you as you walked through the doors. But it's
every single door should be like that. Every single door. Well, every door, not every single door, but
right. Yeah.
So you'd end up in an MC Escher painting, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
One power failure and
half
the crew is gone.
Well, there's a reason why even the most advanced enterprises all have Jeffries tubes with ladders in them. It's like just in case
exactly.
everything
If it breaks down, it's fine.
Yeah. Just takes a little longer to get.
You have to manually walk to the place you're trying to go to, but as long as everything's working fine, you need to go from a bridge from engineering. All you got to do is walk through the door.
Yeah.
And I always got it too, because it's like in Star Trek, right? They had the wall communicator, or the communicators. Every time they try to use their communicators, how the F are you supposed to hear that live when the computer? How does the computer know who you're trying to contact until after you say who you're trying to contact? But they respond live. It's like quantum communications. I always thought that was weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is magic. It is one of those things that is so advanced that they don't even have an explanation for it. But the idea of computer LaForge to the bridge. Like, you don't know you want to go to the bridge until you finish that statement, yet they respond as if they're hearing that live. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what you're saying, it should be like a delay in there?
Well, just an initial delay at the very least until the computer can connect you to. So
you could play it.
Yeah, but
until the computer knows where you're trying, because it's not like you're an operator where you're like, open up a frequency to the bridge and then say, okay, LaForge to the bridge. You're not doing that. You're just saying LaForge to the bridge, like right off the bat.
It knows where to send the signal
after you say it.
Yeah. See, what it should be doing is you should be saying LaForge to bridge, and then you have to wait for as long as it said LaForge to bridge again before you hear a reply from the bridge. But instead, what happens is it's LaForge to the bridge here. It's
exactly.
I don't see anything wrong. I don't see anything wrong with it.
And there's nothing wrong with
technically,
but it's magic. I mean, it is technological
magic.
There's nothing wrong with it, because you don't get to hear both sides at the same time. All we're seeing is a cutscene. You know what I mean? Or it should be like LaForge to a bridge, and then you hear a ding, which means the computers that connected you. They never hear LaForge to bridge.
You hear a chirp.
You do hear a chirp, but only when you initially tap your communicator.
Yeah, tap the communicator.
It's like so what it should happen is LaForge.
Even if you tap it, some people don't tap it.
And then there should be a pause that of exactly the same amount of time it takes for you to say LaForge to the bridge before the bridge can respond. Minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Even though signals are traveling at the speed of light.
Yeah, because it still takes time for the computer to say LaForge to bridge on the other end.
Yeah.
I'm not that picky, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always that I've noticed too, but it hasn't bothered me just because I'm like, okay, there's obviously some. It's like the doors that open automatically. There's no electric eye that we ever see or anything like that, and sometimes they don't open when you think they would. Like somebody pauses in front of the door when and the door doesn't open, so they could still maintain a private conversation with whoever they have in that room before then they turn and face the door, and then all of a sudden they open. It's because there's two sweaty assholes on the other side of the wall you can't see waiting for their spot. That's why.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah.
Well, now in the future world of Trek, everything's just mind associated now, right? So like, just the ship just knows when you want to go through a door or something. Which is a good answer if you got a super futuristic starship that can, like, the starship is connected to everybody's mind, and you just need to think about what you're going to do, and it automatically reacts before you even do it. That would be kind of cool. But we didn't have that in TNG days.
That would get too many people in trouble, because you think about banging your wife, and then she shows up right there in front of you naked, and you're on the bridge.
That would be a great episode. That would be a great episode where the random thought suppressor malfunctions. The next thing you know, you got fucking holodeck images popping up and taking over the ship with people's random thoughts.
Now, see, but then think about it.
That'd be a good Orville episode.
What if Picard has a gay fantasy?
Oh my God. That's something that's just on the ship. The gay suppressor too. Oh, Captain, the gay suppressor's offline.
Oh,
Looks like it's going to be busy in the mess hall tonight.
We got cleanups all over the ship.
I'll inform the chef to include extra lube for tonight's meals.
This is there's a buildup of this material around the ship.
Just imagine Scotty having to fix that. And report it to Kirk,
And remind the doctor that for the ladies, they don't actually require scissors.
Okay, so who did not, after seeing the scene with the chick with the spikes on her skin, the first thing you thought of, was it not ribbed for her or his pleasure or displeasure? Oh my God.
I'm just thinking, that is, what it reminded me of? There's a race on Doctor Who, New Who, called the Vivaci.
Yeah.
Or, they're like that, except there's one kind that's green and another kind that's red.
Yeah.
And this one's like chalk white. Yeah. She I wonder if she's like a puffer fish or,
Art puffer.
Yeah. And then it's like, of course, obviously, how do you squeeze a woman like that with those things, without hurting yourself,
Well, I think she's going to be recurring. So
Probably. Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be.
I don't want to see her anywhere else but in bed with LaMarr. Like if I don't want to see her in uniform, or just have her like every time we see her, she's always like just finishing up with LaMarr.
Or about to begin.
Yeah. Stress-free K says, did they say where the porcupine woman worked on the ship? No, I don't think.
No, they never
Don't remember
any detail.
She's the head of HR.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
She did seem taken aback a little when he said, "Stay as long as you want." She's like, "John." I had a feeling she wasn't going to be back, but who knows? No. Anyway, anyone want to talk about anything other than Orville or Strange New Worlds before we go? There was a lot of stuff out. We got Stranger Things. We got The Boys. We got things I'm forgetting about, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've only seen 2 of The Boys episodes. There's a third one out there.
I've only seen one. What do you
I gotta watch. I gotta get caught up on Boys that came out this week, and I was busy. So
you had your chance last night.
Well, I didn't want to watch it with you guys. I want to have it. First of all,
Obi-Wan.
And I do want to be able to hear everything and consistently. That's the first thing.
Which you missed last night.
Backstage, and all of a sudden you'll start hearing him working with a client over the top of the movie, or all of a sudden the sound will go out and he'll be asleep and he can't turn it back on. You just have to
which didn't happen last night. Last night was a beautiful playing.
Yeah.
Got to enjoy all 3 episodes.
Or he likes to mess with it. Like he'll put other windows on top of the movie while you're trying to watch it, and it just. Oh, I thought you could see that. Oh. Or he'll play little videos over the top of the movie while you're trying to watch it. Like emotional damage and.
Hey, Darren, are you done flushing your toilet?
Yes, I am.
All right, good. That's another thing you can hear in the backstage.
Geek Flag with Nady knows 1973 says the Orville is way better than Strange New Worlds. Only thing Strange New Worlds seems to do is destroy Star Trek canon.
Exactly. That's why I refused to watch it after 1 episode. It wrecked so much canon in that first episode. I said, to hell with it.
Can't disagree.
But you know what? That guy we were talking about earlier, Salty, you know, one of the things you always bring up is, well,
That guy.
Enterprise broke canon. I'm like, not as much as you think. I mean, the only, you know,
Yeah.
I've taken a task on this. The only thing that they did that really broke canon was having a Romulan ship cloaking in front of them in X-01, and they were going to fix that, but they didn't get, they didn't get the 5th season. Manny Koto had something planned for that, and so. The other thing was that when Enterprise occasionally, contradicted or attempted to contradict something that had been established in the previous show, they were always apologetic, like, well, we didn't intend that. You're right. Sorry.
Mhm.
Whereas Secret Hideout is like, we didn't get anything wrong. You're an idiot. That's literally how they respond.
And and they know they're throwing this, that they're breaking canon, but they're throwing all this shit in that's supposed to impress the older fans like us.
Yeah.
See?
The impression that I get is that they're treating anything else that was produced by another production company as sort of a vague history, which is not that's not how Star Trek fans are detail oriented. We're into the nitpicky. We're into the details. We're not going to just accept the vague, the idea of, everything that we just watched was a vague history. No, I think they were trying to make Star Trek a mainstream thing instead of being more of a niche sci-fi audience.
And that's where they keep screwing up.
Yeah.
It's always been niche. Okay, Star Wars, that would be,
mass
just
market.
Everybody off the street, mass marketing kind of stuff. That's the type of story that is. But this is, people that are interested in science go after Star Trek. Okay. They're, people that want to know about black holes and, singularities.
They incorporate the latest. They incorporated the latest, science and pop science ideas into Star Trek, whereas Star Wars was space fantasy, and didn't tell you, what, all the limitations of the Millennium Falcon and stuff like that, like Star Trek would with the Enterprise.
Yeah. Or it was so
nobody's asking those. I don't think for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, I made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there were lines like that. That's why Lucas had no respect amongst the hardcore sci-fi community. Guys like Ray Bradbury and Isaac Asimov were like, "What is he talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
Or the fact that this is another thing that they really didn't like George Lucas about, that he changed forever what an android was by calling his robots droids.
A droid, yeah.
Yeah. He's using words and he doesn't know what they mean is what they kept saying in like news magazines and things like that.
My understanding is he changed that to droid so he could have some type of copyright over that word, because there were games that came out that tried to use the word droid and he sued them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He got away with it. I mean, there's some savvy there, but even Data is not an authentic android by pre-Star Wars definition of the term, because he takes a panel off his head and you see circuitry in there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's no mechanical or anything wiring in an android according to the original definition. It's an android was understood to have the same organs as a human being, just artificial. So artificial lungs, artificial heart, artificial blood, a kidney, things like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because Asimov made that distinction. There were androids and there were robots.
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Resolute Germ says The Boys is okay, but still pretty woke at times. I definitely got the woke vibes.
Well, it's supposed to.
They were making fun of being woke. They weren't. What was woke?
That's the question. I mean, they're making fun of it, but it's also they're winning. So it's like, well,
yeah. This was, remember now, The Boys is made by a person who hates the idea of comic book superheroes. He hates corporations. He's an atheist. I mean, everything we see that's destroying civilization, he's in favor of. That's what you got there.
Yeah.
And let's face it, if suits were real, you would have an asshole like Homelander out there. And you know, the guy that can shrink and crawl up your ass.
Oh my
and all that
God.
kind of shit. You would have that.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
All right. Well, I haven't seen it yet, so now I'm.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm strange, but looking forward to that, I guess. All right. So, as a guy who has read the comics, I actually am kind of thankful that they're not going exactly with what the comics, went with. There's certain things that I'm wondering if they're ever gonna get around to. But I do remember that there's apparently this other team called Payback. Soldier Boy was their
oh yeah,
was their leader, and I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were modeled after the Avengers.
Oh, okay.
But
I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it for you.
Yeah, I mean that's just in the comics. That's not the. I'm hearing something else over the top. Oh, that's Bird. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, sorry.
That's his mom. Okay. I was like, but interesting. I watched somebody analyze the She-Hulk trailer, and I'll probably end up watching that when it comes out. But I agree that hair, especially styled hair, can be often very difficult to do in CG, especially for what amounts to a television budget. Yeah. I think that She-Hulk's hair is one of the biggest problems with her looking, real.
Cinnabon, we don't hate Trek. Trek hates us. Okay. Yeah.
It's the golden age of the Orville.
Not quite, but it's getting there.
Ion's in the house. Kapla Ion. And he says, I mean, really, how many times has Star Trek broken canon on itself over the series? Like it was 50 times, like was 50 times as a guest to the hundreds in the new stuff with their own storytelling.
Well, I have a response to that, and that is there is a lot of stuff that they change on themselves in the beginning of TOS. TOS has more continuity violations within itself than any other Star Trek show, other than the Secret House stuff, and it's because they were still trying to figure things out back then.
I give them a pass.
I mean, the United Probe Agency. I mean, there was the Space Central. These were all terms that were thrown around, and so. But the thing that what's different now is that it's almost like Secret Hideout. It's like, well, Trek did it back then, we can do it now. I'm like, no, it wasn't. You shouldn't intentionally try to do that. To create continuity violations. But that's what you're doing. You're saying, well, because there was continuity problems in the original Star Trek, we can create continuity problems here, and that's it's their attitude that is the real problem.
You're
like
supposed
I said,
to fix continuity issues, not create more.
Yeah, Enterprise fixed a bunch of stuff. Not the least of which was clarifying the whole Klingon thing. They actually solved the Klingon problem. Yeah. And then here comes Discovery, messing it all up again. And they're like, whoa, Klingons have had makeup changes before. I'm like, yeah, but that was they fixed it, and now you've messed it up again. That's literally what they say when you talk to them on message boards and things. And did you have
they're not understanding what
it's supposed to get better as time goes on, not worse.
But I mean, but we all know why all that was done.
So
They
we probably
couldn't make any money off of the original stuff. CBS wouldn't let them, so they tried all this. They're trying all this newfangled shit to see if people would get interested, and it ain't happening.
Yeah, it was the weirdest decision. They wanted to have their own versions of Starfleet vessels, but they also wanted to say that it took place in regular continuity, and they decided on a prequel. Well, that's those ideas are mutually exclusive of one another. We know what the ships are supposed to look like. We know what the uniforms are supposed to look like. We know what all the tech is supposed to look like for that period, and you're not making it look that way. But if they had set Discovery like 100 years after Picard or something, I think it would have been, at least it wouldn't have been a violation. You know what I mean?
So we probably will not see Klingons on Strange New Worlds, is what you're saying.
I hope not.
Well, it might, but it'll be very interesting to see because now since Discovery takes place before TOS supposedly,
blah 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 blah.
Welcome, Tim.
Tim with his usual quality of response.
I mean, that ship looks like a Viper to me from Battlestar Galactica more than anything.
A speedboat.
This looks way too small.
No, it looks like what was the Wraith? It looks like a Wraith ship.
It's a kayak.
Yeah. Basically.
Look how tiny that cockpit is.
Well, yeah, it's a one guy
laid out.
It's a fighter
and
ship.
that looks smaller than like an F-18 cockpit.
Sir, the kayak is flown in the laying position.
No, but what I was talking about was they and this is the thing that most upset me about Secret Hideout. They knew that they knew what established fans wanted to see, and that's what they told us we were going to get, and then they didn't give us that. And
they just said episodal videos. That's all they said.
No, I'm not talking about Strange New Worlds. I'm talking about in general. Discovery. They said they said that we wanted a show that continued or was in the same continuity as the Berman era, and they said that's exactly what it was. But then what they gave us was something that anybody who paid even halfway attention knows couldn't possibly fit into established continuity, because they wanted to keep those existing fans, but they also wanted to cultivate new ones, and you can do that, but not the way they chose to try to do it.
Yeah, they need to look at what Next Generation did.
Right.
Because it kept the old fans and cultivated new. You guys are the new fans. Okay, basically.
Yeah.
Cinnabon says,
job with season 1.
if the Orville was written by good writers like Trek, the Doctor would have hung herself in the restaurant simulation. Cowards.
Okay, Cinnabon, what the hell are you smoking?
I think
give me some.
I think Cinnabon's got his troll button on overdrive right now.
Yeah,
he's wearing that.
When doesn't he? That's like his idol, for God's sake.
That button's getting worn out. He's got to get a new one, bigger one.
He's stuck in that mode. It's a loop. To do otherwise is divide by 0.
And the Random Menace says, the size of the cockpit isn't important. They say. That's what people with little cockpits say.
Geek Flag with Nate's got it right.
Well, an X-wing fighter. I mean, how big is the cockpit on that?
Look bigger than that.
Well, the cockpit? I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's about
this
the size.
thing looks like.
I'd say it's the size of an F-16.
What about an A-wing?
Yeah, the cockpit in that fighter looks so small.
Yeah, I mean,
It was a bit smaller, but
yeah, it's like trying to.
It's like a bat.
Yeah, it's like a rat fitting inside a snake.
They're all small.
Rats do
Fighter
fit inside
pilots
of
aren't that
snakes.
big.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just slip inside the little crevice of the ship. That's the perfect size for you to lay down.
Oh, you know what else was new and out there? It's not sci-fi, but if you've got Paramount Plus, South Park has a new special on Paramount Plus, hour-long special on the streaming wars. So that's why it was particularly.
Oh wait,
funny.
that's new. I saw that this morning on the website.
And you guys told me about that song yesterday, WOP whatever.
WAP.
WAP. That song was in the South Park special that I watched last night after my stream.
Oh,
I
my
was like 20 minutes after my stream. All of a sudden, I'm hearing the song. I was like, what? Yeah, they just put it right in the middle of the South Park special. So, yeah, had I not heard about it on the stream, I would have heard about it on my own. Yeah, that is an effed up song. I could not play that on YouTube.
I bet you can.
Yeah, I guess I could, but I wouldn't. There's more what I'd say. I wouldn't play it on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, did you got to step out?
Okay.
Take care of your job. Be back later. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Be good.
Anything you want to say before you go, LDG?
No. I'll try to pop on my cell phone and listen in while I'm on my drive.
We'll probably be ending sooner than later, but
okay, cool. Backstage is open later. All right, take care.
Bye.
Backstage is open all day. As long as one of us are conscious.
Very good. Very good. Did anybody have any other episodes or any other shows they want to bring up?
Well, I mean, Obi-Wan is completely, I mean, talk about a character that they've done a 180 on. I mean, he is so weak in this series, it ain't even funny.
No, I watched one episode and started falling asleep. So I know that's not surprising to many of you. But, I was surprised. But no, please talk.
I'm just saying. I mean, they've completely made him, basically, yeah, he uses a lightsaber, but he really doesn't use the Force at all, except for that one scene when he saves Leia.
I have a caveat defense to that. In A New Hope, when we see Alec Guinness Obi-Wan, the only things he really does is use a mind trick.
No, he uses it twice.
But that's all he does. He's not doing cartwheels. He's not jumping all over the place. He's not moving around.
Older. He's way older.
What's that got to do with the price of tea in China?
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to say is that they could show him degenerating to some degree. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I mean, we're not. You can't really put him in a lot of massively epic fights because he's supposed to be keeping a low profile.
Yeah, that, and we know he survived to A New Hope.
Yeah, he's got to survive.
So any fight would be, well, you know who's going to win. It's.
Or he can survive.
He definitely didn't win this past fight.
Right, but I mean, I've always wondered how he scares away the Sand People in the first movie. But
no, actually, somebody with that type of training Obi-Wan had, he would. I mean, that was the thing. He and Yoda discussed it in the last movie. Remember, gonna lay low.
Yep.
They both went into hiding. Okay, so Obi-Wan wouldn't have been doing all of this adventure shit. He could have been in a cave somewhere, where he maybe, keep an eye on Luke, and just like, he would. They screwed up. Okay.
I think the show should have been a more, and I know this might be boring to some Star Trek fans, but I would have loved to see a more intellectual version of Obi-Wan instead of a physicality one, or where he's trying to go out and save the little girl. His attitude is an issue. I mean, because he never old Alec Guinness Obi-Wan was not. He didn't have that same attitude. He didn't have that cynical, turn away somebody attitude. But I mean, don't know. I don't know where this show. Honestly, I wasn't a really big fan of having an Obi-Wan series. I was curious to see what they were going to do, but I just don't think the series was necessary.
Now, the series they should have made was Luke has reestablishing the order, and he's got two or three young guys and a chick, Jedis, and they're going out doing what Jedis are supposed to do.
Plus,
and remember, Jedi were the original concept with Jedi was they were like the Shaolin in China. They were marshals, peacemakers. They were peacemakers.
That's what I have is Leia's basically bossing him around.
I'm taking off, Bird. Thanks for having me.
I mean, when you have a 9-year-old
Take care, Darren.
bossing around the main character, I have an issue with that too.
Cinnabon is going just ape shit in the chat. Okay.
Oh boy.
But anyway.
Oh man. See,
I thought this show happens like 9 or 10 years after episode 3, not 3 years. That would make sense.
Yeah, it is supposed to be like 9 or 10 or so.
What is Bunny talking about 3 years?
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about there.
He's talking about the screenshots. Yeah, he's talking about the
screenshot. Okay, sorry. Yeah, the only issue I think I really have with the show, though, honestly, is the Grand Inquisitor, because like that girl off in the Grand Inquisitor when he's supposed to have an entire story arc in Star Wars Rebels, and yeah, dude, what? It's like, they keep saying, this is why I always say there's no such thing as canon anymore. There is no such thing as canon. Canon does not exist because every time these people are going to screw it up. And here you go. They screwed it up. And they try to say, well, all this stuff is canon. All this stuff is going to interlink with each other. Well, you just done effed up. To quote Angry Joe, you done fucked it up. I thought like maybe that's not the same Grand Inquisitor. Maybe he was like the Rebels Grand Inquisitor's like younger brother with the flatter head, Then he dies. They got the guy with the taller dome, the more oblong head. I don't know. It's funny. Yeah. They'll come up with something. Emperor probably has a batch of clones of him lying around somewhere.
Well, everybody's trying to power grab to be the next Grand Inquisitor, so yeah, there could always be another one. I don't have a problem with this one getting killed. That's basically what happens.
If they figure something out, if they make
this one got killed and you got another one, and he got killed too. So what's the difference? You have multiple Grand Inquisitors dying. So to me, no big deal. You just replace them with a different one, basically. Eventually.
Hello, Saul Leibowitz.
Hello. How are you all?
I believe we're doing well.
Oh yeah, yes.
Letting you go off on Orville, again, thinking about making that investment in Hulu. I did watch. We are watching Stranger Things, which, as I said, it's a really good revival of Nightmare on Elm Street, and there's even a Robert Englund cameo in this series. But season 4 is much better than seasons 2 or 3. Just a lot better.
Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things, a lot better writing.
Okay, you said Strange New Worlds.
I'm sorry, Stranger Things. Sorry.
No, you said Stranger Things.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, my brain is bad.
Has been so damaged by.
I was
Strange
expecting him to
Worlds.
say it though. I'll follow you on that, Bird. I was expecting him to say Strange New Worlds, but he, I think he said. Actually, he might have said. Yeah, I think he said Stranger Things.
Yeah. Can I throw 2 series in that I don't think get a lot of run here?
The Expanse.
No.
Okay.
Has anybody watched Disenchantment? Now it's more into fantasy, but it has some familiar names.
The guy who did The Simpsons.
It's Matt Groening. Well, no, Futurama. David X. Cohen, Matt Groening, Claudia Katzman. A lot of people who worked on Futurama work on Disenchantment, and if you're not watching it, you're doing the right thing.
Welcome, Captain Famdom Nerd. I'm not watching it because I tried to watch Disenchantment. I got through maybe
he fell asleep.
two or 3 episodes of the first season.
Yeah,
and that was it.
He fell asleep.
Yeah, or just we're really angry with it. Yes.
Captain Fandom Nerd confirms you did say Stranger Things.
Thank you.
So my brain is not so good, maybe.
The other one that I would
salty too much.
There's one other series that, boy, it could be really good. The first season was okay. Was called Inside Job. It's got kind of a Rick and Morty-ish look to it, but it had a great idea as its 2 great ideas as its concept, and it's on Netflix. 10 episodes. They're a pretty easy watch, but it's about this organization that runs the world. It's full of conspiracy. It has like the aliens. It's got this old reoccurring character who's this who's a sniper who does all the executions or who does all the assassinations for the organization. It's this shadowy organization that runs all the conspiracies, and it's like the day-to-day operations, and kind of The Office meets the X-Files. Good concept, great concept, and then add to it, the main protagonist is this young woman who is just the bestest ever, except she's totally unlikable. I know
that's nothing new.
It's a great concept.
You do that a lot.
Well. See, the thing is, the head of the organization says, "I want you. You're so smart. You're the bestest ever, but nobody likes you. So what we're going to do is we're going to hire this bright-eyed, redheaded, smart young guy, and he's going to co-manage the organization for you, while the head of the organization wants to try to get into the Secret Seven, this hooded mystery group that is actually the ones who run the world. And they just run this. They also are managing this corporation, but they want somebody as the figurehead. And he's like, I can't give it to you because you're just a completely unlikable woman. I'm going to bring in this good-looking guy, and he's kind of stupid, but he's really good at PR. And they have to co-manage the conspiracies around the world, which is a pretty good concept. The writing, and there's a couple episodes where they just totally drop the ball, and it's something that we see like in a lot of other modern TV shows where their consistency isn't very good. They forget kind of what they did in one episode, or in later episodes they forget what they established in early episodes. But if they and they do kind of want to be like a Rick and Morty, because the woman's father is this kind of drunk Rick Sanchez type guy. It is worth a watch. I would tell people it's good comedy science fiction. You even get some voices like John DiMaggio's in it. it's worth a watch, and I'm hoping season 2 they get their act together, because it could be a Futurama type show in that good a quality science fiction comedy. 10 episodes, real easy watch on Netflix.
The problem is I'm not a Rick and Morty fan.
No, you don't have to be. You know, there's a slight tinge to it. They do some kind of gross out humor. The main character's father is kind of a Rick character, but he's not. He's a supporting character. He's not a lot. He's not in the episode a lot.
What's it called?
Inside Job.
Inside Job. I'll take a look. I'll take a look. And for those, again, just to looking for good shows, just under a week from now, I believe it's June 10th, on Apple TV, For All Mankind, Season 3, which I enjoyed the first 2 seasons a lot.
And I think T-Mobile, if you're old, if you're a wonderful 55 plus and you're on the 55 plus T-Mobile plan, I believe you can get a year free of Apple TV.
Cool.
Too bad I'm too young.
Yeah. Everybody here's too young. They're just little punk kids.
The Random Menace says Inside Job is epic. That's something. Okay. Listen, I think we could probably keep talking a while, but I have to get going. So I'm going to go through, give everybody a chance to say something, and then we're going to have to call it a day here for me. If someone else wants to start up, I will send everyone there. So, Mr. Lundell, how are things going?
For me, everything's peachy. It's always I'm the guy that's always having a good time. This was interesting.
Like the opposite of me.
This was actually interesting. I wish we could have slammed He Who Shall Not Be Mentioned a little bit more, but hey,
apparently
LDG.
He's out. He's not even on his other stream today. He's out for something, for a birthday or something. So,
That guy.
Yeah. So he wasn't around. He probably didn't even see this.
I was hoping he was lurking.
I don't think he was, but I'll send him any clips of note.
Anywho, this was fun. We got to do this again. For something.
Yeah, well, maybe next week we'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. We had a great turnout for an unscheduled show. We had a good panel and a really nice.
Well, silly me, I was sitting around watching modeling videos where guys are making like neat little dioramas and stuff, and then all of a sudden my autoplay comes here, and I'm like, oh well, shit, I missed a live stream.
That's what happens when I don't schedule in advance.
Yeah.
Number one, anything you want to tell us?
Kabla.
Kabla. Glory to you and your house.
Hail Stovercore.
Hail Stovercore. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, you go eventually, right?
Eventually, but hopefully not for a while. Anything? Any changes with YouTube? Number one, you getting your foot wet again?
No.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to give us in parting wisdom?
Just watch, Orville, New Horizons. We'll see how the season goes, but so far, how many episodes is it? Did they ever say? Is it like
I believe it's 10.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. Okay.
Resolute says, remember, Bird, next week, start an hour later. We'll do Resolute. We'll do. If we do this next week, it'll be an hour later.
And eat the out-of-date spam.
Eat the what?
Out-of-date spam.
Oh, eat the out-of-date spam. Yes. I don't know if Mount Prey will give it to me.
Well,
but
just get a bunch of
Sunday.
Just do a an auction.
Trust me, regardless of what dates on that spam, it has a half-life of 10,000 years. The spam will last longer than the can it's in.
Just take a bunch of donations for it or whatever,
Jedi Bill, Kapla, Jedi Bill. Sorry. I saw Jedi Bill. Tim, what's up with you, Tim?
Not much. I've got 4 days off. I'm going to loaf. I've been a little sick lately, but mostly from allergies and other crap, and kind of hit me in the chest. I think I was coughing so much I bruised a rib or something because it really feels like somebody punched me. But yeah, it seems to be healing up fine, and just need a couple days off. My manager already gave them to me, so I was like, I'm going to take it. Nobody's going to bother me. I'm not going to answer the phone when it's work. Forget that noise.
Going to bend or break me.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just going to paint a few of these Pathfinder miniatures that I picked up and have a nice day.
That's
nice
good.
week.
Well, I hope you feel better soon and enjoy. Saul Leibowitz.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure
to
be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I need to send your mom a recipe since I didn't know she liked chili. Down here in South Texas, we have what's called ranch bean soup, which is like a chili light with pinto beans. She needs to make it for herself and you. I'll send a recipe.
Oh, thank you.
And you've already got my recommendations. We're going to watch, me and the missus are going to watch the final 2 episodes of the first part of season 4 of Stranger Things tonight. They're a little longer episodes, but they've been pretty well worth it. You need to get past episode 1 because it's a setup episode for everything
I'll be
else.
honest. Episode 1 made Mama Prey sick.
Yeah.
Like, sick to her stomach. I'm not sure she's going to want to watch the rest. I still want to watch.
Yeah, watch it. So far, very good. Very good.
I'll be watching on my laptop.
Yeah.
Rather than the TV.
See, that's what my mom says about watching YouTube in general. She doesn't like watching YouTube at all because I can't stand it. It makes me sick. I'm like, well, Mom, you got to stop watching all that crud YouTube, and maybe you're just detoxing yourself from your political ideas.
Have her watch the hobbyist stuff. The hobbyist stuff is so fun and relaxing, and as long as it's not political hobbyist.
I've tried like just goofy fun things, and she says she cannot stand watch. There's something about YouTube itself that she just cannot look at it. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever.
Could just be the pixelations and the camera.
That might be it, and it's funny too because she's on the computer about as much as I am. So, but she's always like doing other things, shopping and whatever else. Amazon. She's a premium Amazon shopper.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, I know, right? She's got the Prime account and everything. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, why don't you have that? You use Amazon. I'm like, I don't want a Prime account.
Yeah, here's one of the things.
Half the things I buy already have free shipping. I don't need a Prime account. So.
Real quickly, if I could ask anybody, because I'm a cheap person, I have T-Mobile because they give me, along with the phone, they give me some free services like free Netflix. But Amazon Prime, I guess they have the new Kids in the Hall. Has anybody watched those? I know it's not science fiction or fantasy,
No.
but the Kids in the Hall, the original stuff was really good, and I've heard good things about it, and I'm almost wanting to get Amazon for that, just briefly.
No, I'm not a Kids in the Hall person.
Yeah, not me neither.
Okay, well, thanks.
But there's so much stuff over there, that it would be worth the prime investment for a year.
Yeah, I got really dissatisfied with The Boys, partially because when I originally heard it, one of my favorite films is Bad Taste by some guy named Peter Jackson.
Some guy,
Yeah.
some unknown guy we've never heard of, right?
Yeah.
No.
If you ever watch that film, the group of guys who go battle the aliens is called The Boys. So I thought, hey, there's a great idea for a series, a bunch of screw-ups who week by week go out and save the world. And I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Then it's like, no, it's about these superheroes. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a pretty good idea, there's a group of different corporations have superheroes instead of just the one, or maybe different countries have different superheroes. Like, that's pretty cool. Who would the Vatican have as a superhero? They don't really look at these issues in this film or in that series. It's about, oh, there's a Nazi and then there's the bad
Who would the Vatican
Superman.
have? Check out the anime Hellsing. You'll find out real quick who the Vatican would have.
Oh, okay. I need to check that out.
They had in that show, man. Okay, mind you, the Hellsing Foundation is a bunch of vampires, right? But
Yeah.
they have this deal with the Vatican to stay out of their territory if the Vatican stays out of theirs. Well, apparently Alucard and this high level Vatican hunter meet up. He basically just comes in, violating their treaty, and goes after Alucard and starts romping the place. He's doing all sorts of crazy stuff. he's throwing like holy knives and stuff out of nowhere. He's got like talismans all over the building that they can't leave. They can't even go near the talismans, the vampires. So it's like he's just outright killing everybody. And then Hellsing goes, then Alucard goes nuts. But that's, we were watching that the other night. That was pretty interesting stuff.
I have to check that out. But
if you like anime, that is, I mean,
yeah, I guess the bottom line, what I had with Boys, I think I transferred over to the Orville, is Gene Siskel always said, if you could think of a better idea for a show while you're watching it or a movie, it's probably not a very good movie. Whenever I watch the Orville, I never get that feeling. Like, oh, this episode could have been better if they did this. That's why I like the Orville so much. And I may make that investment, as Bert says, into getting Hulu, even though it goes against everything my cheap self would do.
If you have to wait till,
I'm thinking about doing
weeks,
that. Yeah,
or 8 weeks until they're all out, and binge it at once.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing.
That, but
yeah,
then you will have spoilers to deal with between now and then.
Yeah,
that's the only problem.
Okay, maybe I'll do that.
I would say if you can at all swing it, get it now, watch them, and then cancel when it's over.
Because there doesn't look like much else on free time to watch. I'm sorry?
You still get your free time before your build.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Captain Fandom Nerd, excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's we're never gonna get used to that.
It's gonna take a while. I'll get it. I'll get it just as you change it to something else. I'll get it.
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah. You haven't had a chance to say much. Anything you want to talk about?
No, there wasn't really anything I wanted to talk about. Although I would recommend that everybody go to birdofprey5.com for all your Bird of Prey 5 needs.
Of course.
Thank you, Captain. I appreciate that. And Kapla, Jim Henry, thank you for coming on. We're just getting ready to head out soon. So, Captain, anything you want to say then before we go?
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. Any idea when the next morning brew is going to be?
Probably will be Monday.
Monday. Check out for the next morning brew with Captain Fandom Nerd and company. Okay, guys. Thank you all for hanging out.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. But time to go on. So, Kapla all, Bird and panel out. And